Once upon a time, in a quiet little village tucked away between rolling green hills, lived a poor but loving couple. More than anything in the world, they wished for a child to fill their small home with laughter and joy. Every single night, they would stand outside, gazing up at the vast starry sky, and whisper a heartfelt prayer for a child of their own. One evening, as they were making their nightly wish, a brilliant shooting star streaked across the dark canvas of the sky. It shimmered with an otherworldly light before disappearing behind the dense forest that bordered their village. The wife gasped, her eyes wide with wonder. "Oh, look," she whispered, her voice filled with hope. "Perhaps that star has heard our prayers. Perhaps it has brought us a blessing." The very next morning, the husband ventured into the forest to gather firewood, his wife's hopeful words still echoing in his mind. As he walked deeper among the trees, he noticed a soft, ethereal glow coming from a small clearing ahead. His heart began to pound with a mixture of curiosity and awe. He pushed aside the branches, and what he saw took his breath away. There, nestled in a patch of grass that seemed to hum with a gentle light, lay a beautiful baby boy. The infant was wrapped in a blanket that shimmered like starlight, and he was smiling sweetly, as if dreaming of celestial wonders. The man knew in that instant that this was the blessing they had prayed for. Overjoyed, he carefully scooped up the baby and rushed home. His wife wept with happiness when she saw the child. They named him Starboy, for he had come to them from the heavens. Starboy grew up quickly, and he was no ordinary child. His eyes shone with the depth and mystery of the night sky, sparkling with a wisdom beyond his years. A faint, gentle light seemed to follow him wherever he went, casting a soft glow on everything he touched. He was a kind and honest boy, with a heart full of compassion. He was always the first to lend a hand, helping his neighbors with their chores and sharing whatever little he had. But Starboy also possessed a strange and magical gift. Whenever he felt sad and cried, his tears didn't fall as water. Instead, they transformed into tiny, glowing stones that looked exactly like miniature stars, cool and smooth to the touch. The villagers marveled at this, another sign of his celestial origins. He was their little miracle, a constant source of light and wonder in their simple lives. One year, a terrible misfortune fell upon the land. The sun beat down mercilessly day after day, and no rain came. The rivers and streams slowly dried up, and the once green fields turned brown and cracked. The crops withered on their stalks, and the threat of famine loomed over the village like a dark cloud. People grew desperate, their faces etched with worry as their food supplies dwindled. Seeing the suffering all around him, Starboy's heart ached with a profound sadness. He looked at the worried faces of his parents and the despair in the eyes of his neighbors. He looked up at the vast, empty blue sky that offered no relief, and felt a deep, overwhelming sorrow for the land and its people. He knew he had to do something. That That night, as the moon cast long shadows across the parched earth, Starboy walked alone to the highest hill overlooking the village. The air was still and heavy. He stood at the very top, his small figure silhouetted against the starry sky. Closing his eyes, he clasped his hands together and prayed with all his might. "Please," he whispered to the heavens, his voice trembling with emotion, "please, let there be rain. Let the fields drink and the people live again. I'll do anything." As he prayed, a single tear of pure empathy rolled down his cheek. It glowed with an intense, brilliant light before it fell into his hand, a perfect little starstone. He looked at the tiny, radiant gem, a piece of his own starlight heart. With a final, silent prayer, he threw the glowing tear high into the air, towards the endless expanse of the night sky. For a moment, nothing happened. The tearstone flew upwards, a tiny speck of light, until it seemed to merge with the stars above. Then, a low rumble echoed in the distance. It grew louder and louder, a deep, powerful thunder that seemed to shake the very foundations of the earth. Dark clouds, as if summoned from nowhere, began to gather and swirl across the sky, obscuring the moon and stars. A cool wind swept through the valley, carrying the scent of long-awaited moisture, and then the first drop of rain fell. Soon, it was followed by another and another, until a steady, life-giving rain began to pour down upon the thirsty land. The villagers ran out of their homes, their faces turned upwards, letting the cool water wash away their fears. They laughed and cried with joy, dancing in the downpour that promised to save them. The sound of their celebration filled the night. When their initial jubilation subsided, the villagers looked towards the hill to thank the boy who had brought them this miracle. They called out his name, their voices filled with gratitude and awe. But the hilltop was empty. Starboy had vanished. They searched for him all through the night and for many days after, calling his name through the now lush forest and across the rejuvenated fields, but he was nowhere to be found. It was as if he had disappeared with the coming of the rain. From that day on, whenever the villagers looked up on a clear night, they noticed a new star in the sky. It shone brighter and clearer than all the others, twinkling with a gentle, reassuring light. They knew in their hearts that it was him. It was their Starboy watching over them from the heavens, just as he had watched over them on Earth. They named that star the Shooting Star Boy, in memory of the kind-hearted child who came from the sky to bring them light, hope, and the miraculous gift of rain. And every time they saw a shooting star streak across the night, they smiled, remembering the boy who was a blessing, a hero, and a star that had briefly, wonderfully come down to live among them. Thank you so much for joining me for this story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more tales of wonder and magic. We'll see you in the next one.